Hello and welcome, my dear students. I hope everyone is doing well and good and staying safe. As we all know, this current pandemic situation has affected all of us financially, mentally, and physically, and especially the teachers and the students have entered a new world of virtual lectures, the e-learning, as the lockdown brought by the coronavirus has shut all the schools and colleges. Now, before starting our lesson, let me introduce myself. I am your tutor, Miss Rebecca, and I will be teaching the subject of class 11 and class 12. So today we will be learning the lesson of class 12 of Unit 2, that is memory. Now, when we talk about memory, we all know what is memory. We all have our own memory. We create our own memories. Oscar Wilde once said, "Memory is the diary that we all carry with us." We always have our own memory in our pockets, and it brings a smile on our face every time we remember it. So can you imagine a life without memory to recall? Wouldn't be very depressing and very boring. Memory has a fundamental role, and it is very essential in our life because it helps us to grow and learn to be a better person. It teaches us very important lessons because through our memory we get to know what is wrong and what is right, and we remember where we did our mistake and we correct ourselves from there and we learn from there. In the same manner as memories teach us very important lessons, it also teaches us abilities and skills to cope up in our life to attend with. Through our memories, we also know things we mostly do every day, like being able to cook, studying, and doing household chores at home. Whenever we are in sorrow or we feel sad, it is our good memories that helps us remember the good times that would keep us happy and motivated. That is why it is very essential in our lives. And by the time we get old, it is our memories that would always stay in our mind, in our hearts, that would bring happiness and remember what we did. So therefore, we should also always cherish and treasure our good memories, all the things we do while it lasts in our mind. Like Dr. Seuss said, "Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." Now, as we are talking about memory, memory is the ability to take information in, to store and retrieve it later. The term information here, it means the sensory input, the senses that we get from the environment that informs us about something that is happening around us. Now, memories has three main domains: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Now, when we talk about encoding, encoding is putting a code into information, inserting it, and then putting it into our memory to be stored. Encoding is the process of getting information or putting the information into our memory. It is the first stage, which refers to a process by which information is recorded and registered for the first time so that it becomes usable for our memory system. If information never gets encoded, it will never be remembered. Encoding requires linking new information to old existing knowledge in order to make new information more meaningful. Once the information has been encoded, we have to somehow retain it. We have to keep that information in our mind. So that is why our brains take the encoded information and store it in a storage. Now, storage is a process that in which we maintain our information over time. So in order for a memory to go into a storage, that is the long-term memory, it has to pass three distinct stages, that is sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. The third stage is the retrieval of the information that is stored. The act of getting information out of memory storage and bringing the stored information into our conscious awareness is known as retrieval. An ability to process information when it is needed or when you need it, retrieve information from memory allows us to actually use these memories to make decisions, interact with others, and solve our problems. So our ability to retrieve information is very vital in our daily functioning. Memory errors or the problems may occur at any three of these stages if the information is not encoded properly or if the information is weak. You could not access the memory or retrieve it when it is needed. The next topic that we will be talking about is information processing approach. This information processing approach is based on the idea that humans actively process the information they receive from their senses, memory storage, similar like the way a computer does. Initially, memory was considered the concept of storehouse to store the capacity to store all the information that we acquire through learning and experiences. It was seen as a storehouse where all information was kept so that we could retrieve and use it when it is needed. But with the advent of computer, the arrival of computer, human memory came to be seen as a system, a processing system that stores and processes information in the same way as a computer does. As we all know what is computer and have worked in a computer and seen and known that computer has a temporary storage that is random access memory, a short-term storage data, and permanent storage, for example, hard disks. So based on the program's commands, computer process informations, it gives us the input and output as well. So similarly, human beings also register information, store and operates the information. The cognitive psychology sees the individual as a processor of information in the same way that a computer takes in information and follows a program to produce an output. Some general characteristics of human short-term memory resemble those of a computer random access memory, and long-term memory is something like computer hard disks. For example, when you are required to solve a maths problem, the memory relating to maths operations such as division or subtraction are carried out, activated, and put into use. And we receive the solution, the problem solution, the output, and the result. So this analogy, the comparison between them has led to the development of memory, the first model of memory, which was proposed by Atkinson and Shiffrin in 1968 and was known as stage model. Now the next topic that we will discuss is memory system. According to stage model, which was proposed by Atkinson and Shiffrin in 1968, there are three memory systems, that is sensory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Each of these systems have different features and perform different functions. The focus of this model is on how information is processed and is stored. Now, firstly, we will discuss what is sensory system. Sensory is a type of memory that makes our ability to process and recall what we see. Sensory registry can think as a holding bin that keeps information until we decide which items we want to pay attention to, and the information that is not attended properly is forgotten. So paying attention allows the information to move from sensory registry to short-term memory. The iconic memory is for visual stimuli. The word iconic refers to as icons, which is a pictorial representation or an image. Now, people remember things in different ways. Iconic memory involves the memory of visual stimuli. It is how the brain remembers an image as we have seen in the world around us. For example, look at an object in your room you are in now and close your eyes and try to visualize that object. The image that comes in your mind is your visual stimuli that represents iconic memory. So iconic is a type of memory that briefly stores an image which has been perceived for a small duration, and this has iconic image will last for a few seconds and will fade away very quickly. The next type is of echoic memory, that is for auditory information. Echoic memory is the auditory sensory that holds information that you hear. It is a type of sensory that briefly stores sounds that have been perceived for short duration for 3 to 4 seconds. The process of echoic memory is automatic. This means audio information enters our echoic memory even if we don't try to listen it. The last type of sensory memory is haptic memory. A haptic memory is an information that can be recalled that was originally collected by the sense of touch, the tactile senses. This is a type of sensory memory that is collected through a sense of feeling or touching. A haptic memory is information that can be recalled that was originally collected by the sense of touch, the tactile sense. This is a type of memory that is collected through feeling or touching something. The next type of memory system is short-term memory. Short-term memory is where we keep the content of our current thoughts. Short-term memory is a memory that holds information for a small duration of time, less than 30 seconds or less than that. So this short-term memory not only has a limited time but also have a limited capacity to store an information. However, the storage capacity of short-term memory can be increased through a process known as chunking. Now, what is chunking? Chunking is a process by which pieces of an information set are broken down and then grouped together in a meaningful whole. For instance, remembering a phone number, instead of remembering a phone number in 10-digit number that is 123456890, instead of that, we could break down or chunk into 1234556 and 7890. So in that manner, it would allow us to remember the number of as 3 items instead of 10. This method is much easier than remembering a long string of 10 digits. Some of the information in short-term memory is neither lost nor retrieved but passed along to the next memory storage, that is long-term memory, through rehearsal. Now, the process of rehearsal consists of keeping the information by repeating them. The process of rehearsal consists of keeping the items of information in the center of attention, perhaps by repeating them. It is a repetition of an item in short-term memory in order to store it in a long-term memory. The information of short-term memory can be transferred into long-term memory through either maintenance rehearsal or elaborative rehearsal. As the name suggests, maintenance rehearsal, it simply maintains the information through repetition, and when such repetition discontinues, the information is lost. So this maintenance rehearsal did not succeed in transferring the long-term into long-term memory. However, elaborative rehearsal is more likely to succeed against this maintenance rehearsal. Elaborative rehearsal is a type of rehearsal that is useful in transferring information into long-term memory because it is very effective. It involves the meaning of the information, and based on the importance, it stores the information and keep it into the long-term memory. Now the next memory system is long-term memory. The long-term memory refers to the unlimited capacity memory that stores information and holds information over a period of time. It is relatively a permanent storage. Unlike the storage of sensory and short-term memory, which have a limited capacity and duration, which means that information is available only for a certain period of time, but it is not retained indefinitely. Where long-term memory can store unmeasurable amounts of information indefinitely, because information is stored on the basis of meaning and importance. Now, long-term memory has of different types, and it can be categorized into implicit and explicit memory. Implicit memories refers to knowledge that we cannot consciously access. It is remembering without awareness. For example, you may remember how to ride a bicycle or walk, but it is difficult to explain how you do it. So, implicit memories are procedures for completing the motor skills or the motor actions and are not part of our consciousness. They are memories formed from behaviors. Under implicit memory, there is a type of procedural. Procedural is a type of memory that stores information about how to do things. It refers to information relating to procedures for accomplishing various tasks or skills, such as how to brush your teeth, how to make a tea, or how to play a basketball, etc. So memories that are usually recalled unconsciously, like the motor skills or actions, such as riding a bicycle, are stored in procedural memory. Another type of long-term memory is explicit. It is conscious and declarative. Explicit memories are those experiences that can be intentionally and consciously remembered. It involves events, concepts, and facts, or the general knowledge and awareness. Tolvin, who is a psychologist and a cognitive neuroscientist, was known for his pioneering research on human memory and has proposed a classification and suggested that declarative memory can be either semantic or episodic. Semantic is abstract and is fact-based, and episodic is based on a specific events or experiences. Now, when we talk about semantic memory contains all the general knowledge and general awareness about the world that we accumulated, that we have gathered throughout our lives. General knowledge such as facts, the events, the ideas, meanings, and concepts related to our world are stored in this semantic memory. For example, you may remember the name of President of India, or we know London is the capital of England, even if we have not been there. It is because of semantic memory that we remember the meaning of nonviolence, or we can know and remember who laid the movement of nonviolence, or say like we remember the zip code of Kohima, etc. Unlike episodic memory, this kind of memory is not dated, but semantic memory is based on the facts, the general knowledge, and the general awareness. The next type of declarative memory is episodic. Now, episodic memory contains biographical details of our lives. It means that it contains information about events and events that we have personally experienced. The concept of episodic memory was first proposed by Tolving in 1972. He believed that episodic memory is memory that is about happenings and events on specific things that happens to us at particular times and places, like what, when, and where. So with episodic memory, an individual is able to recall the events such as we remember our 16th birthday party that we usually call as Sweet 16. Why Sweet 16? Because the main purpose is to celebrate the persons becoming older and entering into a different stage of their life. So therefore, a record of what has happened to us, our remembrances, reminiscing of past things, make up our episodic memory. Unlike semantic memory with its meaning and facts, episodic memory seems to be when certain events happens to us in our lives. So on this note, we have come to the end of our class. Thank you and stay safe.